Alright everybody, this is the Mini Prepper again, and today we got two things up on the table here. We have the Crkt Drifter and the Crkt Viva. This came in a package from Walmart, and try to show you the package here. And show you some of the stats on it. Okay. So I got this from Walmart. They had quite a few of them on one day. The next day they were basically gone. But this package here cost $9 without tax. Now I've heard these going at Walmart for anywhere from $5 to $15. I haven't seen the $5 one, but so this one I got for $9. Let's do a quick size comparison. Got the steel wheel cut jack and Ontario Rat 1. And the Sanran Moose 7010. And I showed this one because it's something on it is gonna come into play a little bit later as I go over the drifter. So let's go over the Viva first. So this is their kind of multi-tool thing here. You got a few little things on here. You got a pop bottle opener. You got pry bar, and you could put it on your key ring. You could also put it in either your pocket, like on treat this as a pocket clip, or on your belt loop. So I'm just kind of show you. You have to pretend this is a pocket, and it could just go on your pocket just like that. It works okay. Also, you've got for like trying to get bolts out or anything, you can just you just slide this over till you find the correct size, and you're supposed to be able to loosen this. I haven't tried that part of it yet. I have used the pop bottle opener. It worked okay. No, nothing horrible. This is kind of, like I said, it's supposed to be like a pry bar scraper type thing. The only time I actually used it was on one of the knives I had gotten. The lock bar kept sticking real bad, so I was able to stick this in there and kind of pry it over to get the lock bar to disengage. But it's okay. I don't know, it's kind of big. And you can see it's really basically as big as the handle here, or as long. But so it works. It serves a purpose, I guess. I didn't really that much care about it or care for it. So I guess let's move on to the knife. You know what? Let's do, I guess, the weight of these. And 4.33 on the knife. And 1.12 ounces on the Viva. Okay. So this is actually the second set that I've gotten of this. The first set, I wound up giving the knife to my one friend. And that one worked really well. The action on it was good. The lock bar was easy to get to disengage it and everything. But I wound up giving it to him. He needed a knife, so, it's only $9, so I figured the heck with it. But I got this other set, And this knife, I guess the quality control there, especially on these knives, not that great. And by the way, there is supposed to be or not supposed to be, there is a G10 version of this. I don't know how good that one is compared to this. I know everything's supposed to be the same size. It's just a matter of G10 handle instead of just a stone-washed stainless steel handle. But this one I had a few problems with. First off, we'll see if this will show up at all. I don't know if you could tell right in here, I had to take my Dremel and grind away at that because the lock bar was extremely hard to get to. It was almost as if they didn't cut it out enough. It certainly wasn't like the first one. The first one was very easy to get to, no problem, you can get your thumb in there. This one, not so much. It was very, very hard to get to that. It was almost, I don't want to say the same height, but it was a lot closer to the same height as the lock bar. So, but I fixed that, so that made it a lot easier. But then I was having a lot of centering issues when I would close the knife. Now, I've got it fixed now, but what was happening, or what I've finally figured out what was happening, well, first I should say, when I would open and close the knife, the blade would be all the way maybe to this side at one point. Then I'd open and close the knife, you know, X amount of times, and then the blade would be on this side. And I'd open and close it again, and the blade would be over here. So it kept jumping back and forth. Couldn't quite figure out at first what was going on. You know, did all the tricks that I could do to get the centering correct, but it wouldn't work out. So finally I realized it was the washers, the Teflon washers that they put in there. What must have been happening is, on one side of the washer, it must have been fatter than on the other side. So as I opened and closed it, and the washer would spin, it would maybe stop, and then I'd open and close it a few times, and maybe it would spin just one of those times, and the fat end of the washer would end up in a different spot. And that was what was causing the blade to move back and forth. So what I did, I took out the Teflon washers and put metal washers in there. And so far it's been fine. So we'll have to see how it holds up. This is the first time I've ever messed with switching out any type of washers on a knife. So hopefully that works out. I will say though, the blade did come very sharp. Both of them actually came very sharp. So whoever is sharpening these blades at Crkt, good job. You're definitely sharpening these things good. Now you notice on the blade there's actually a slight recurve, which is okay if you can sharpen recurves. If you don't know how to sharpen a recurve, then this knife, you're going to have a few problems with it once you dull it out, which this is, and I don't know if it's on here. No, I believe it's 8CR13 MOV. Let me make sure before I say anything. Yep, 8CR13 MOV. So it's going to dull on you, you know, relatively quickly. Do have some jimping up here, but it's basically not even usable. Really, the fact that this ramps up is more of what's going to hold your thumb in there than the jimping. The handle itself is not too bad in hand. I mean, it doesn't feel horrible. Everything's rounded nicely, so it, you know, no real hot spots. Even this pocket clip, you would maybe think this would be, you know, a big hot spot, but it's actually not. It just happens to sit, at least in my hand, right in the right spot that it doesn't jab into my hand or anything. And when I took this apart, one of the things that I didn't think I'd see on this knife is they actually had a flat cut on it. So this pivot is not free spinning. So I was surprised on that for such a low price knife. You do have a lanyard hole, and it doesn't look like the blade gets close enough to it. Sometimes that will happen on some knives, but this one's okay. Pocket clip is not movable. Can't put it anywhere else, so it is only tipped down right side. And it is a big pocket clip. Not a big fan of this. I do like, a bit thinner type of pocket clips. I don't know. This is just huge. And I'm not a big fan of the branding on pocket clips either. I know a lot of companies do that. The Ontario Rat Knife, they've got that, and Spyderco does theirs. But I don't know. I've never been a big fan of billboarding on a pocket clip, and especially one this size. But it does work well. There's, it holds in your pocket just fine, goes in and out just fine. So no problem there. Dual thumb studs. Now, when I was talking about earlier with the show the Sanran Mu, one of the problems with the Sanran Mu is the big thumb studs that stick out past the handles. Well, this one has the same issue. Now, while I don't generally have a problem with this one actually tends to catch on my pocket. You could definitely see how much that sticks out. So that's something to, to consider if you happen to have this knife or get this knife, that may catch on your pocket. It might be a problem, for you. What is kind of nice about this knife is it's kind of like a open billboard knife. You can do just about whatever you want with it. I was actually, one of the things I'm going to try to do, or that I want to do, is polish a blade, so it's a mirror polish. Well, this knife's nice and cheap. You can even try the handle on this one. If there's a knife that you wanted to kind of mess around with to just try different things, this is actually a pretty good knife. It's cheap, and there's no designs on it or anything, so you can kind of do what you want on this knife. It's a open canvas. Since switching out the washers, the action isn't bad on this. I gotta probably mess around with the pivot a little bit more, and I definitely have to Loctite it because it keeps loosening up. But it's not bad. At least this knife now is usable. The way it was, I didn't even want to carry this knife because it was just too hard to get to the lock bar. And then I had the issues with the blade centering all over the place. So, but you can see on the blade too, not a bad blade here, as in getting thinner as you get down here. So it's not bad for slicing. It is a hollow grind. And you kind of have a bit of a sharpening choil, but they didn't quite go over far enough over here. They stopped a little short. So, but that's the Crkt Drifter and the Viva. Not too bad. I'd say if you can get it at the $5 to $9 price point, then it's worth it. If you're up at the 15, I don't know. I don't know if I'd spend... it might be worth it at the 15, I guess, as long as you don't have any problems. But if you got to make a few adjustments like I did, then at least it's, you know, a bit more usable. But that, again, that's the Crkt drifter in the stainless steel handle. So I will hopefully see you guys on the next review, and hit like. See you next time.